You open the hive on a cool autumn afternoon, lift the first brood frame, and see almost nothing. No fresh eggs shining at the bottom of the cells. Hardly any young larvae. The queen was laying well a month ago, so the conclusion arrives fast. She's finished. Time to replace her. That decision can cost you a perfectly good queen. In autumn, a honeybee colony is changing its entire plan. Through spring and early summer, the goal was growth. More brood meant more workers, more foragers, more comb, and more stored honey. By late summer, especially in a temperate climate, the same amount of brood becomes expensive. Every larva needs heat, pollen, nectar, nurse bees, and constant attention. As flowers fade and nights cool, the colony begins reducing that expense. The queen may lay less, confine herself to a small patch of comb, or pause completely for a while. A pause like this can be perfectly normal. Quite often, the colony has read the season before the beekeeper has. The first mistake is judging a queen from one empty frame. Bees move the brood nest as stores are rearranged. A comb that held eggs in July may be filled with pollen, polished, and left empty, or packed with nectar by September. Sometimes the active patch is no larger than a hand and sits on the warmer side of another frame. Eggs are also easy to miss in dark comb, poor light, or cells partly shaded by bees. I've watched people search for 10 minutes, declare a hive queenless, then find a neat patch of eggs when the frame was tilted toward the sun. Leave the queen hunt for later. Read the colony first. Look at the brood that remains. Is the capped worker brood compact, with most cells filled and only a few natural gaps? Are there healthy, pearly larvae lying in milky food? Is the brood centered where you'd expect it, with pollen nearby and honey around the outside? A small, tidy brood area in autumn can be far more reassuring than a large, ragged one. The amount has fallen, yet the work is still orderly. The age of the brood gives you a timeline. An egg remains an egg for about 3 days. Worker brood is capped roughly around the 9th day and emerges around the 21st. If you find young larvae, the queen was laying only a few days ago. If you find a solid patch of capped worker brood, she was active recently, even if she isn't laying today. That information is better than whether you happen to spot her walking across the comb. A look beyond the brood frame. What has the weather been doing? A dry August can shut down flowers early. Several cold nights can tighten the cluster and reduce the area the bees are willing to heat. A warm September with goldenrod or ivy still offering pollen may keep brood rearing going longer. Two apiaries only a few miles apart can behave differently because one sits in sun and the other holds damp, cold air until midday. This is why a calendar date isn't a diagnosis. The colony responds to forage, temperature, stores, population, and local weather together. Pollen matters more than many beginners realize. Honey provides energy, but growing larvae also need protein and other nutrients supplied through pollen and the food produced by nurse bees. When pollen coming through the entrance falls sharply, brood rearing often contracts. Research on autumn colonies has shown that access to pollen can extend brood production later into the season. Remove that supply, and the colony shifts earlier toward a broodless winter population. That shift has a purpose. Winter bees are built for a different job than summer workers. They develop with larger internal nutrient reserves and can survive for months while supporting the colony through cold weather and the first return of brood. Endless late brood isn't always a sign of strength. It keeps nurse bees working, consumes pollen and honey, and gives varroa mites more sealed cells in which to reproduce. Expecting June production from an autumn queen gives you the wrong standard. Ask whether the colony is reducing brood in a controlled way or whether something is actually breaking down. A controlled autumn reduction usually has a certain feel. The adult population still covers the important combs. Stores are present and sensibly placed. The remaining brood is mostly worker brood and looks healthy. The bees are calm once the hive is opened. There may be few eggs or none on that inspection, yet there's no obvious emergency response. A failing queen leaves a different trail. During a period when neighboring colonies are still raising brood, her colony may show a consistently scattered pattern. You may find many empty cells among brood of the same age, excessive drone brood in worker-sized cells, or a population that keeps shrinking while food is available. A damaged queen may be present, but unable to maintain a useful worker brood pattern. The point is that queen failure is a pattern seen across the colony and across time. It isn't one blank comb on one cool afternoon. Varroa can confuse this diagnosis. A heavily infested colony may have patchy brood, chewed cappings, sick emerging bees, or a dwindling adult population. Replacing the queen won't remove the mites. The same goes for brood disease, starvation, or too few bees to cover the nest. Blaming the queen for every ugly brood frame is convenient because queens can be bought. It's also how the real problem survives your intervention. Listen as well as look. A truly queenless colony can become unsettled with a prolonged, louder hum after the hive is opened. That sound is useful, though it isn't enough by itself. Search for emergency queen cells built from young worker larvae, especially on the face of the comb rather than only along the bottom edge. Check whether the brood nest is being filled completely with nectar and pollen. Later, a hopelessly queenless colony may develop laying workers, leaving multiple eggs in cells, often badly placed on the walls and producing drone brood where worker brood should be. By then, the problem is harder. When doubt remains and you have another healthy colony, a test frame can settle the argument. Add a frame containing eggs and very young larvae, mark it, and inspect it again after a few days. A colony that truly believes it has no queen will often begin emergency queen cells on suitable young larvae. A queen-right colony normally won't. This test costs some brood from the donor, so I wouldn't use it casually on weak colonies late in the year, but it is far safer than killing a queen on suspicion. There's another reason to slow down. Autumn requeening carries its own risks. The old queen must be found and removed. The new queen must be accepted. If the introduction fails, colder weather and dwindling queen availability leave fewer chances to correct the mistake. If the colony must raise its own queen, the season may no longer provide enough drones or suitable flying weather for reliable mating. In a northern climate, losing a functioning queen in September can turn a manageable colony into a genuine emergency. Sometimes autumn requeening is exactly the right move. A clearly failing queen can compromise the winter population, and a good mated replacement introduced at the right time may save the colony. Experienced beekeepers make that decision from several signs together. Poor worker brood when brood should still be present, repeated evidence across inspections, a damaged queen, emergency cells raised on a test frame, or a colony that is plainly declining compared with others in the same yard. Timing matters. So does certainty. On a cool inspection, work quickly. You can feel the season in the hive tool. Propolis has gone stiff, the wax smell is faint, and a lifted frame loses warmth faster than it did in July. Keep brood frames over the box, avoid leaving them exposed to wind, and don't dismantle the whole hive merely to prove the queen is there. Record what you actually found. Eggs, young larvae, capped brood, brood pattern, food stores, mite level, temperament, and weather. Then compare those notes with the next inspection and with neighboring colonies. Memory tends to turn, "I saw very few eggs," into, "There were no eggs at all." My practical rule is simple. Diagnose the whole colony before condemning the queen. The queen's laying rate is only one part of a seasonal system. In autumn, fewer eggs may reflect cold nights, declining pollen, a deliberate brood break, limited space, treatment stress, or genuine queen trouble. Those causes demand different actions, and only one of them is solved by buying another queen. When you close the hive, ask whether the colony has what it needs for winter. Enough healthy bees, enough well-placed food, controlled varroa, sound comb, and a queen that has recently produced an orderly worker brood pattern. If those pieces are present, a temporary pause in laying may be exactly what a healthy colony should be doing. An empty cell in autumn carries less meaning than we like to give it. Sometimes the bees are already arranging winter while we're still thinking in summer.